They wanted to sell their company to Blockbuster, but when they approached the Blockbuster CEO, he laughed at them. History is proof that the same Blockbuster that once stood before them like a giant mountain was eventually brought to its knees just a few years later. Welcome back once again to the story of Netflix. Back in 1997, when internet businesses were just starting to surge, Jeff Bezos and other entrepreneurs were testing the idea of selling anything they could online, from pet food to baseball bats. Mark pitched idea after idea, but Reed Hastings wasn't convinced. He envisioned a business where customers would find them once and keep coming back on their own. For months, they kept brainstorming ideas. Then finally, they discovered one: videotapes. At that time, videotapes were the primary source of entertainment. On weekends, people would go to their nearby Blockbuster store, search for movies for hours, rent them, and if they returned the tape late, they had to pay a fine. When this idea occurred to them, Reed Hastings himself had a $40 late fee that he owed to Blockbuster for returning a tape late. Reed believed that the video rental industry desperately needed a change, and renting movies online could definitely work. But the problem was that video cassettes were heavy and mailing them would be costly. If they broke during shipping, they would also face losses. This was a huge issue, and Mark and Reed felt their internet business was about to fail even before it started. A few weeks later, while flipping through a tech magazine, they stumbled upon something that would change everything: DVDs. It was the first time they had heard of this new technology. Unlike bulky videocassettes, DVDs were light, inexpensive, and easy to mail. Instantly, Reed saw the opportunity. Renting DVDs online wouldn't just be possible, it could be the breakthrough they were waiting for. And that's where Netflix began. A customer would order DVDs online, and the DVDs would arrive at their doorstep. Inside the same envelope, there would also be a prepaid return envelope so the customer could easily send the DVD back. The idea was simple, but they needed money to start, and both Mark and Reed didn't have enough investment. Somehow, they set up a small low-budget office with cheap folding tables and second-hand furniture. Employees were hired at low salaries with the promise that if the business succeeded, they would receive shares. Right at 9 a.m., they pushed the button and took the website live. They had even set up a little bell that would chime with every new order. Mark placed the very first order himself, and the bell rang for the first time, music to their ears. But just a minute later, it rang again. And this time, it wasn't them. It was a real customer. That day, they received 137 orders, far more than they expected. The website even crashed multiple times due to heavy load, so they needed to fix those issues. Their DVD rentals totaled only $11,000. Most people were not renting DVDs, they preferred to buy them. They had given customers both options: purchase a DVD for $25 or rent it for $4. Mark and Reed wanted more people to rent DVDs because one DVD could be rented repeatedly, giving continuous profit until it was damaged. They knew they were only selling DVDs because there were no competitors in the market yet. A few weeks later, they got a call from Amazon. Jeff Bezos, who already dominated the online book market, now wanted to enter the DVD market. Mark and Reed were more focused on renting DVDs rather than selling them, so they turned down the idea. They continued trying to promote their rental business, but the promotions failed badly. They started a new campaign offering a coupon code for 10 free DVD rentals with every DVD player purchase. But the promotion failed because the coupon wasn't placed inside the DVD player box. It was stuck on the outside. This meant even people who didn't buy a DVD player could take the free coupon. This was a huge loss. Soon after, the Monica Lewinsky-Bill Clinton scandal broke. The whole of America was searching for videos related to the court trial, but this also hurt their promotion plan. They suffered even more losses. Blockbuster at that time earned around $800 million each year, just from late fees. Meanwhile, Netflix's annual revenue was nowhere close to that. Blockbuster did not take Netflix seriously. Because they were running so many physical stores, they didn't feel the need to invest in an online business. Mark and Reed finally decided they couldn't keep losing money. They would work under Blockbuster if needed, as long as Blockbuster bought their company. So they arranged a meeting with Blockbuster's CEO. The CEO listened silently first and then asked for their demand. Reed immediately said, $50 million. Hearing this, the Blockbuster CEO burst out laughing. Mark and Reed understood they were being mocked. They left empty-handed. Time pass. Time pass. Blockbuster eventually started its own DVD by mail service. But by then, it was too late. Netflix, on the other hand, was working on launching a video-on-demand service idea that customers could stream movies directly from the internet without DVDs. This was the first streaming service of its kind. It changed everything. Blockbuster panicked and started taking desperate steps, harming their business even further. For example, they introduced no late fees, but that upset many franchise owners who depended on that income. For years, Blockbuster had been squeezing every penny out of its customers, but Netflix chose a different path, one focused on convenience and fairness. Slowly but surely, people began to notice the difference, and as word spread, more and more customers started drifting away from Blockbuster and toward Netflix. Most companies fail because they are unable to adapt to new technology, and someone else comes in and captures the gap in the market. The same happened with Nokia and smartphone photography because they didn't adapt. Other companies overtook them. Today, Netflix has thousands of employees worldwide. Its valuation is more than $288 billion, and it generates nearly $19 billion in annual sales, much more than what Blockbuster could have bought them for.